Well, it's the big show, and on the big show, we like to talk to big guests. And I'm not being personal, by the way. Roy Chubby Brown, how are you?
I'm wonderful today. You've caught me in a good mood. Just had a bag of chips.
How are you, Roy?
I'm fine. Well, I'm fine. I say I'm fine. Of course, we lost poor Bernard yesterday, and Bernard and I were great friends, you know. In fact, I don't know whether it was a sixth sense, but on Thursday, I'd been down south, and he'd rang me and left me a message on my answer phone. He said, "Hey, Chubby, it's your dad. Will you give us a ring when you come in?" And that was on the Thursday before they took him to hospital. So I'm going to have to record that off my telephone and keep that. You know, it's a bit of a keepsake.
I love the man. I was very lucky to go up to his house last year and do an hour special with him. And I just so admired his loving for his family and his character and his wisdom, and the fact that he was in tears talking about his grandchildren. What a top man he was.
The thing about Bernard was, I like to call him a beans on toast man, a council house man. He shunned glamour of any kind. With all his wealth, he was quite simply, let's sit at home, let's watch the telly, let's have a bag of chips. He called a spade a spade. I don't have to explain that to you. And that's what I liked about him, his honesty. I thought he was one of the most honest fellas you could ever... You know, when I hear people slagging him off, there was a thing in the paper this morning about slagging him off, saying he was this and he was that and the other. They didn't know him. It's dead easy to call somebody now they've gone, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they did it when he was alive, but I think the interesting thing is, having worked in London for a year, they're not representative of what we're like up north. They're just nothing to do with our lifestyle. That's exactly it.
Anybody south of Watford live a completely different lifestyle. As you just said, yeah. And as Northerners, comedy's our life. We are a country that live on sarcasm. We can be very hateful. We can be cruel at times, but while we're laughing, we're not fighting, are we? You know, and today I'm in the town, and this Rastafarian said to me, "Chubby Brown, how are you?" I said, "Fine. Sorry to hear about Bernard." And I said, "Did you like Bernard?" He said, "Oh, yeah." And we started talking between, a bit of a private conversation. And he said, "Well, you know, the likes of us, we want to be on the inside of the circle, seeing what's going on. We don't want to be stood on the outside, not being part of the fun." He said, "And we come to see you, and we'll laugh our goalies off." And it was the same with Bernard.
I mean, what I loved about him was, and he said this himself, he doesn't take the mickey out of anybody, he takes the mickey out of everybody. There was nothing personal.
That's right. And I do exactly the same. Exactly the same. You can be a dwarf, you can be yellow, you can be black, you can be green, you can be fat, tall, thin, small. It doesn't bother me. If I can think of something funny about you as an individual, I'm afraid you're going to get it.
Well, that doesn't put me in good stead. I mean, not only being fat, ugly and ginger, I mean, there's plenty to go on here, isn't there?
Yeah, I was trying to keep my thoughts to myself there.
How are you, Chubbs? Because I think since the last time we met, you've lost some weight.
You've also lost your eyesight as well, then, eh? I wish so. Yeah, I can. I've got a lovely letter there from Slimmer's World thanking me for being a member of Weight Watchers.
Yeah. I was in the show last night and you just rocked. It was a sellout crowd. And from the minute you came on, they immediately got it. They loved you. And the reaction was unbelievably loud. Not every comedy show is as loud as your show. So how have you managed to create that?
I've dedicated 24 hours a day to it, 7 days a week, and most of my life. This comedy act that I do has ruined 3 marriages, produced 7 love children, quickies in dressing rooms, and I just live day to day. I just love the job. But, you know, my father always used to say to me, if you'd been a road sweeper, you'd have been a great road sweeper. Because I taught myself to play banjo, ukulele, I taught myself to play drums, so I'm getting the big head now, and I taught myself piano, and I taught myself comedy. You know, you rather, you know, you can train to be a comic, but you have to be born funny. You know, and I always used to be the one at school that thought of funny things to do and funny things to say, and that's what gives you a kick. You come out with an ad lib and everybody laughs, and suddenly your brain's searching for another ad lib because you want that laugh back straight away.
Yeah, it is like a drug, and I could see that last night. I mean, you're really at your best with the hecklers and those that try and get in the way of your show. It can become obtrusive at some points, but the way you deal with them is brilliant, and they're the most people love. The fact that the line may have been rehearsed or written 3 weeks ago is neither here nor there. They just love the fact that you can come back.
There was a time I had around about 400 answer backs. I probably wouldn't be able to get through 400 as now, but I had such great answer backs. I would sit at home imagining somebody calling me a fat bastard, and then I would say, etc., etc., whatever, oh, you'll be pleased when the Elephant Man comes out, somebody fucking uglier than you. And all, things like, I'd always have an answer for them. There was always something to say, I'd said to one bloke, even last night, I think, in the audience, something like, you're so ugly, I bet you, please God, brought out the back scuttle so she wouldn't have to look at you. There's always something to say. You've got to think on your feet. It's like a boxer, isn't it?
I was talking to Ken Dodd the other week, and I think we both have the same affection for Ken, because I just look at him with such admiration. He's been doing it so long, and he still fills out the theatres like you are. And he says all comedians are rebels, really. He's different to you. He does a completely different act with a different audience. But you've both got that same thing in you, that you're going against the grain, and that's really what comedy's about, I presume. Ken
Dodd, is my hero, complete hero of mine. He's one of the reasons I've just kept going and kept going. I mean, the very first comic I saw, I'm talking about 1963-64, was a chap called Johnny Hammond, who actually won New Faces All Winners Show. So he was the main reason I started doing comedy. But once I saw Duddy, I just thought, that's who I want to be. But unfortunately, you see, times change, we have to change with him. Duddy would never. I mean, he is suggestive, but not as blue as I am, obviously. You look at Duddy now as a classic dinosaur, a Max Miller, somebody you'll never, ever forget. As Bernard, you'll never forget Bernard, I mean, I've just been watching Richard and Judy, and I've been talking about me taking over Bernard's mantle. But Bernard and I, even though we did the same sort of act, we were different in lots and lots of ways. I'm more of a visual comic than Bernard was. Bernard was more of a joke teller than I am. I'm more of a storyteller, and etc. and etc. There were so many differences between us. You'd have to sit down and watch it yourself and make up your own mind.
Well, I mean, for a start, yours is more of a production show. For a start, I mean, he comes on, he's in the same way as Doddy does, just with a mic, and that's it. He doesn't even want a light on. It doesn't matter to him, does it?
No, I tried to mix a little bit of the old variety. I'm still a front cloth comic. I'm still up front with the microphone, but I like to think there's things going on that if people are getting bored looking at me, there's someone else to look at.
Well, I don't know why they do that. It was interesting last night on Newsnight. I don't know if you saw it. As I got home, they were just doing the tribute to Bernard Matthews.
Matthews?
That's what you said, Bernard Matthews.
Was that Carson?
No. This was the guy, Kevin Hessler, the guy presenting Newsnight, and he came out the back and said, sorry, it's Bernard Manning, not Bernard Matthews.
Yeah, what a dickhead.
What a twat, honestly. I mean, really, all the things. Yeah. And he went, sorry, it was the guy who wrote the script. Well, wouldn't you like, he's meant to be a top journalist.
Yeah. Well, Bernard did raise chickens.
He loved his horse racing, man. That was the only thing I remember from that entire thing. The telly wouldn't go off whilst the horse racing was on.
Well, I can honestly say, hand on heart, he never gave me a tip. Sorry, he gave me thousands of tips. He never gave me a winner. When I was in my house one day, it was just about 2 weeks after the Hillsborough disaster. Bernard rings me up and says, Chubbs, I want you to come and do a show for me for the Hillsborough disaster. And I said, yeah, anytime, Bernard. Right. What are you doing tomorrow? I said, well, I was working tomorrow. Well, we'll do it on the dinner time. Come down to my club. I'll just tell him you're on tonight, and it'll be full tomorrow. We'll get some money together for this Hillsborough disaster. And it was a Sunday dinner time. And why it sticks out in my memory was the day before, I believe, had been the Grand National. So when I sat down, he got me a pint, and I said, why the long face? And his driver said, whoa, he lost about 50 grand yesterday. He said this horse could not get beaten the National. He said, and it did. Anyway, about 3 or 4 weeks had gone by, and I rang him up. I went, Bernard, it's Chubbs. How's the horses treating you? Fantastic, he said. I had a £10 round robin up yesterday. I got 27,000. You know, I mean, it's like highs and lows. It's like the business, isn't it?
He never cared. Listen, it's always nice to talk to you. And one thing I notice about you is your piano playing. Are we ever going to see you do a proper musical concert? Because you really are really terrific at it. And it's another side of you that nobody ever gets to see. I mean, you do it in the show. I'm not even convinced half of your audience realise that it's really you playing.
Well, I can assure you it is, and I assure it's very difficult, and I can assure you have to practice every day. I mean, my party piece, everybody has a party piece, was a Scott Joplin number. It was a rag, and it was called The Cascades, and then I went on to The Entertainer, started doing The Entertainer, then I intermingled the pair of them. So because I do like ragtime, it's sort of a happy, jolly, clowny type of, bang your feet, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's that type of thing, and I love all that,
I'm the same as you. I mean, it's funny. I mean, I love the piano as well and have played for years, and I'm kind of into more the Billy Joel stuff at the minute and things like that, just because it was written for the piano, and you kind of feel that about you again, that you were born to play. There's some people who play kind of clinically, and it's kind of not personal, but the way you play is amazing.
Well, my mother, although she never played an instrument, was one of the Taylor sisters that in 1935 there was Amy, Alice, Mabel, what was the other ones? Thelma. The Taylor sisters used to do a radio program, and they'd do all "Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree with Anyone Else" and all that type of things, So that's the only my Uncle George played the squeeze box. But other than that, I'm the freak.
Well, you're a very popular freak, and congratulations on the show. It never ceases to amaze. I know we'll probably be talking later on in the year when the DVDs come out. They have been the calling card for you, really, and what is always interesting is how quickly they go up in the charts, yet nobody ever mentions it.
Well, they can't, because the titles are always a bit suggestive. And Fat Bastard, Clitoris Short Sorts, Pussy. I mean, all the titles are really suggestive.
Jingle Bollocks is one of my favourite.
Yeah. Well, it's like when this video come out this year, Universal ring me and say, can you think of a title? And I can think lots of titles. They said, we were thinking of calling it The Good, The Bad and The Fat Bastard. I said, but you see, first of all, The Good and the Bad. We've had The Good and the Bad, The Ugly, the film. So you're like jumping on their bandwagon. So, first of all, we've already had a video called The Fat Bastard. We need somewhat fresh and original. I said, why did you pick The Good, The Bad? Because I've always named all my videos. So somehow this got took out of my hands, and I don't know why. So they said, well, it's because you tell a couple of cowboy jokes on you're doing about Brokeback Mountain. I said, then why don't you call it Brokeback Arsehole? They said, oh, that's a good idea, but we can't put arsehole on the tape. I said, well, just put A-hole. Put A, and everybody will know it's arsehole.
That's the thing, though, about these people. They don't necessarily have the humour you do, yet they've got your career in their hands.
Yeah. We've when they first made the first video 16 years ago, I didn't know. I didn't, how am I going to replace 60 minutes worth of material? Because, it's hard to do. That's why you have to dedicate all 24 hours to it. Because if you're going to bring a video out every year, which I've achieved to do, I'll just have to keep working all the time. All the time, every day, even today, yesterday. Look at the papers, see what's going on, see what's in the news, see what I can get hold of. Yeah.
Great. Right. We'll wrap up.
Yeah, smashing. Thanks very much.
Chubby, thank you very much for talking to us today. I really appreciate it, and good luck with the shows tonight. And I know you're touring throughout the year. You're coming to a theatre near everyone, really, aren't you? Yeah, we
never stop. We have a week in the middle of the year and a week at the end of the year holiday. The rest of the time, we're always somewhere.
And are you ever going to retire?
Not never. No, I can't. I eat shit, fat, sleep, the whole thing. It's what's the use?
You've got about 400 people working for you as well. You've got their careers to think about.
Well, exactly, and they've all got love children all over the world. They all have to be fed.
Thanks, Chubbs.
Thank you very much. Bless you. Bye bye.
Great. Would you just do a couple of jingles for the show, and then I'll leave you in peace.
Martin's arrived.
Has he arrived? Right. I'll see him.
There's a few of them, so shall I just bring them onto the stage? And say
yeah, I will do, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see that, I need my glasses for that.
Sorry, mate.
What did you say?
Do you want me to read it to you?
Yeah, go on.
I'm Roy Chubby Brown, and you're listening to Alex Belfield. Alex, who the fuck is Alex? You know, like you did before on the telephone.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's the first one.
Right. Hi, I'm Chubby Brown. You're listening to Alex Belfield. Hi, I'm Chubby Brown. You're listening to Alex Belfield. Alex, who the Belfield is Alex?
Great. I'm Roy Chubby Brown, and you're listening to a man who's so aggressive, rude, and offensive, he makes me look like a Disney film or something like that.
Hi, I'm Roy Chubby Brown, and you know you're listening to a man who's so rude, offensive, in fact a slob. Why you listen to him, I do not. Please turn your radio off now, for God's sake. You can't hear this. Oh no, it's filth.
Great. And last one, I'm Roy Chubby Brown, you're listening to a man who's so fat I feel positively anorexic or something like that.
Hi, I'm Roy Chubby Brown. You know you are listening to a man who is so fat, sat next to me, will look like the number 10. I'll do that again. Hi. You know you're listening to a man who is so fat. Oh, sat next to me will look like the number 10.
Brilliant.